Good morning everyone. Today I'm going to start Fourier transform and we'll do the properties of it and then we will solve some questions based on it. So how to find a Fourier transform of a signal xt? It's denoted by capital X j omega, or in some books you will find it is written as x omega also. So it's x or capital X omega will be, or j omega will be equals to minus infinite to infinite integration of xt e raised to the power minus j omega t into dt. A signal xt is given, so depending upon the limits of the signal xt, you are going to put the limits of integration. You are not going to use the limits as minus infinite to infinite. This is a generalized formula which is basically using all the points on time axis. And if the Fourier transform of a signal is given and you need to find the inverse Fourier transform, then inverse Fourier transform of x j omega or x omega is xt equals to 1 upon 2 pi. Again the limits are from minus infinite to infinite, but here we are going to use capital X omega or j omega instead of x of t, small x of t, and e raised to the power plus j omega t, and we are integrating it with respect to omega. So basically you can see that there is a difference, that here small x is replaced by a capital X and there is a positive sign with respect to e raised to the power j omega t, and we are integrating it with respect to omega here, and we are dividing it by 1 upon 2 pi. So we can say that xt, small xt and capital X omega forms a Fourier transform pair. Now just take an example for a signal x of t which is given equals to e raised to the power minus at ut. A is given equals to greater than 0. The Fourier transform is then again using this formula will be x omega equals to minus infinite to infinite. In place of xt we are writing e raised to the power minus at ut and then e raised to the power minus j omega t into dt. As we know that ut is a signal which is known as unit step function, so it is defined 1 for t greater than equals to 0 and remaining equals to 0. So if you see, basically we can say that there are three signals here: one e raised to the power minus at ut and e raised to the power minus j omega t. So this ut is deciding the limits of the integration, so which is from 0 to infinite. T greater than equals to 0 means from 0 to infinite. So x omega will be equals to 0 to infinite. These two have same base, e raised to the power, so we can say e raised to the power minus bracket a plus j omega into t into dt. When you will integrate it, it will be e raised to the power minus a plus j omega t divided by minus of whatever the constant factor here for you, or we can say the variable also, because omega is a variable. So it's from 0 to infinite, the limits. When you will put infinite means the first limit you will put, then it will be minus e raised to the power minus infinite. This term will be equals to 0 and this will be e raised to the power 0. E raised to the power 0 is 1. Then before you put the lower limit you write a minus sign also, so it becomes plus. So the answer is 1 upon a plus j omega for a greater than equals to 0. So magnitude of it, if you will find, is equals to 1 upon under root a square plus omega square. For any signal, if it's equals to a plus jb, the magnitude of the complex number will be equals to under root a square plus b square, and phase will be tan inverse b by divided by a. So in a similar way, the phase of this will be equals to tan inverse j omega divided by a. Here there is a minus sign because when you will change this signal, it will be go up and it will become a minus j omega divided by a square plus omega square. Take another example. If xt is equals to e raised to the power minus a mod of t. Again, this constant a is defined as equals to defined in a range a greater than equals to 0. So mod of t is written as minus t if t is less than 0 and plus t if t is greater than equals to 0. So you can say this question changes to excuse me, question changes to e raised to the power at into u of minus t, because t less than 0 is, you can replace it by u of minus t, and then e raised to the power minus at ut. So we have, to find the Fourier transform, we use this f of xt is equals to minus infinite to infinite xt into e raised to the power minus j omega t into dt. So it's from minus infinite to 0 we have this signal, and from 0 to infinite we have this signal. So it will be minus infinite to 0 e raised to the power minus e raised to the power a minus j omega t. I combined this e raised to the power at with this because they have same base. In a similar way, it will be a plus j omega t into dt. As you know, u of minus t is 1 for t less than equals to 0, and ut is 1 for t greater than equals to 0. So when you will integrate it, it will be e raised to the power a minus j omega into t divided by a minus j omega. The limits will be minus infinite to 0. This will be e raised to the power minus a plus j omega t and divided by a plus j omega. So there is a missing minus here of this one, so you need to change this as a negative sign here, right? Then when you will put the limits, there is a minus sign here again, so this will be this 1. When you will put the lower limit, it will be 0. When you will put the upper limit, it will be 0, and this will be 1. So there is a minus sign here, this minus sign change, this minus sign equals to positive. So that's why there is a positive here. So it will be 2a upon a square plus omega square. Now some functions which we need to define. So if we need to find the Fourier transform of x of t, which is equals to delta t, or you can say equals to impulse function. So it will be minus infinite to infinite delta t e raised to the power minus j omega t. You must know that delta t is equals to 1 for t equals to 0, and remaining it's equals to 0. So when you will put this limit, so what you're doing is basically you are putting t equals to 0 wherever t exists. You can't write dt equals to 0 because dt is a small variable about which we are integrating. So you will put t equals to 0 where t is available. So you can say you will put t equals to 0 here. So it becomes e raised to the power 0, and the area under impulse function is equals to 1. So you can say Fourier transform of delta t is equals to 1. Rectangular function. A rectangular function, generalized rectangular function with an amplitude a, is defined as rect t by t. We did it this thing in the class, how we defined it. So t divided by capital T. Capital T is deciding its limit where this signal will exist. So half of on the negative side and half on the positive side. So you can say from minus capital T by 2 to plus capital T by 2 is equals to amplitude equals to a, and the remaining points this function is equals to 0. So Fourier transform of xt will be equals to x omega minus infinite to infinite xt into e raised to the power minus j omega t into dt. So it's minus in t by 2 to this function exists. You can say it has amplitude equals to a in this range only. So it will be minus t by 2 to t by 2 a e raised to the power minus j omega t integrated with respect to t. A is a constant. Put the limits. So you will get, when you will rearrange it after taking this minus sign inside, it will be something like this. At this point you need to know the trigonometric identities, that e raised to the power j theta minus e raised to the power minus j theta divided by 2j equals to sine theta. So using that we can replace it with 2j sine omega t by 2. Here theta is equals to this part, omega t by 2. So when you will put it, then j will cancel with j. So it will be 2a sine angle omega t by 2 divided by omega equals to this. Here we need to change this function to a very common function which we used in signals, and that is sinc function. So for sinc function the rule is that sinc of x is equals to sinc x over x, or if you say sinc ax equals to sinc ax divided by ax. So whatever the angle you have here, you need to create the same angle here. So in doing that, we have omega here only, so you need to bring t, capital T, and you need to bring divided by 2 also. So in this way you can bring it, and then it will be at sinc omega t by 2. These are the standard functions of whose Fourier transform you need to remember also. Now, properties of Fourier transform. The first property is linearity. If x1 of t Fourier transform is capital X1 omega and x2 of t Fourier transform is x2 omega, then Fourier transform of linear system obeys the rule: if we multiply x1 by a constant a and x2 by a constant b, then a x1t plus b x2t Fourier transform will be a x1 omega plus b x2 omega, or in other words you can say it follows the superposition theorem. Like in electrical engineering, you apply two different potentials and you find the current across any resistance or capacitance or an inductance. You remove one of them, you find the current, then you remove the another one, you find the current, and if you add those two currents, then it will be equals to the current which will be you find when both the potentials are present, or you can say both the batteries are present. Second property is time shifting property. If x of t Fourier transform is capital X omega, then xt minus t naught Fourier transform is e raised to the power minus j omega t naught x omega. So x omega we know is equals to minus infinite to infinite xt e raised to the power minus j omega t into dt. So if we are finding the Fourier transform of this, then it will be xt minus t naught here. Put this t minus t naught equals to p, then dt will be equals to dp, and when you will put the upper limit here in place of this, then it will be minus infinite minus t naught. So if you add something in minus infinite or subtract, it will remain minus infinite. When you will put the upper limit, it will be infinite minus t naught. Again, if you are subtracting something from infinite, it will again be infinite. So we can write it as xp e raised to the power, find the value of t from here. So t will be equals to p plus t naught, replace it here, and then dt is equals to dp. So when you separate this part, you can say it's e raised to the power minus j omega p into e raised to the power minus j omega t naught. If you see, we are integrating with respect to p, so you can see there is nothing with which is of p here. So you can say this is a constant, you can take it outside the integration, you can again rearrange it. So it's e raised to the power minus j omega naught omega t naught minus infinite to infinite xp e raised to the power minus j omega p dp. P and t, if you remember your integration properly, p and t are dummy variables. So for dummy variables, whether you place a p here or a t here, the answer of integration will not change, because the answer depends on x of whatever the function is, maybe xp xt. So whether you are using xp xt xm xn, the answer is not going to affect anything. It depends on the function only. In a similar way, if you see, everything depends on this. Nothing is going to depend on what variable you are using here. So we can change it back to t again here. So we can say that Fourier transform of xt minus t naught is e raised to the power minus j omega t naught x omega, capital X omega. Now, time and frequency scaling. If x of t Fourier transform is x omega, then small x at Fourier transform is 1 divided by mod a x omega divided by a. Again, using the same method, Fourier transform of x of at is equals to minus infinite to infinite x at e raised to the power minus j omega t dt. Put at equals to p, then dt will be equals to dp by a. Put the upper limit here, it will again be, we are multiplying infinite with a, it will again remain minus infinite, multiplying infinite by a, again it will be infinite. So when you will put all this, it will be xp, then e raised to the power minus j omega by a, p divided by whole divided by a, and dp. When a is greater than 0, the answer will come out to be positive, and when a less than 0, due to this factor, the integration will be positive due to the appearance of two negatives. So when a will be negative here, then there will be a negative sign here also. So due to which there appearance of two negatives. Why? Because when you will integrate it, there will be a sign which will come out. So due to the appearance of two negatives, therefore overall integration is always positive. So we can say that f of x of t is 1 upon a minus infinite to infinite xp into e raised to the power minus j omega by a p dp. Again p and t are dummy variables. We can make it x of t. So we can say that Fourier transform of x of at is equals to 1 upon a. In place of omega, now we have omega by a. So we can say omega by a. Properties of Fourier transform continued. Again, it's a frequency shifting property. So x of t, Fourier transform is x of omega, then small of xt multiplied with e raised to the power minus plus j omega naught t. Fourier transform will be capital X omega plus minus omega naught. You must note this thing here. When I'm saying a minus, then on this side it will be a positive. When there will be a plus here, it will be negative. So you need to understand this, that why it's written as minus plus here and why it's written as plus minus here. So if you write plus minus here, you need to write minus plus here. So in this one, we will start with the inverse Fourier transform. So the inverse Fourier transform, or you can say xt is equals to 1 upon 2 pi capital X omega e raised to the plus j omega t into d omega. Put your this side, whichever you want to use, plus or negative. So we are using negative here. So Fourier transform, inverse Fourier transform of x omega minus omega naught is 1 upon 2 pi. This thing, put this equals to p, then d omega equals to dp, and again put the limits here like we did in the previous examples. The limits remains minus infinite to infinite, because adding or subtracting something from infinite is always infinite. Find the value of omega from here. put it here, and here it will become p. So you can say it will be jt p and then e raised to the power j omega naught t. So again, this part is your constant, you can take it out, so it will be outside. Again, it's a p and t are, p and omega are dummy variables, you can write it as again omega. So it will be this, which can be written as your x omega. So you can say, so there will be a 2 pi factor also, but this 2 pi is going under this, not there. So you can say that x of t e raised to the power j omega naught t Fourier transform is capital X omega minus omega naught. Remember, when there is a positive here, there is a negative here, and vice versa. Symmetry or duality property. It's a very important property of Fourier transform, which we will keep on using for the signals for which we will not be able to find the Fourier transform using the direct method of integration. So it's symmetry or duality property. So x of t, x omega, then capital xt, means this thing comes to this side, is equals to 2 pi. This function comes to this side, and there is a minus of omega. So xt is equals to f inverse capital X omega, and then 1 upon 2 pi, this formula which I put it in the first slide. Put t equals to minus p in this, so it will be x of minus p 1 upon 2 pi x omega e raised to the power minus j omega p into d omega. Interchanging w and p, we get 2 pi x of minus omega equals to minus infinite to infinite x of p e raised to the power minus j omega p into dp. As we know, Fourier transform of xt is equals to capital X omega is equals to minus infinite to infinite xt e raised to the power minus j omega t dt. P and t are again considered as dummy variable. We can write 2 pi x omega minus omega Fourier transform is xt, capital xt, or you can say x of t, double-sided arrow, capital X of t, Fourier transform is 2 pi x of minus omega, small one. Next property is time differentiation property. Let me bring the pointer first. So time differentiation property is x of t. If x of t Fourier transform is x of omega, then if you differentiate it one time, then Fourier transform becomes j omega into x omega, capital X omega. If you are differentiating it n times, then on the Fourier transform side it becomes j omega raised to the power n, capital X omega. So this is a proof. So x of t is equals to f inverse. We are using again the inverse Fourier transform because we need to differentiate on this side. If it's inside integration, you will not be able to differentiate. So we are using the inverse Fourier transform formula here. So d by dt of x of t will be 1 upon 2 pi d by dt of this thing. The only thing which can be differentiated with respect to t is this part. The remaining are constant with respect to t. So the differentiation of this will be j omega into e raised to the power j omega t. So it will be equals to 1 upon 2 pi minus infinite to infinite j omega, as we are differentiating this. So the constant will come and this function remains same. You can say x omega e raised to the power j omega t d omega. So you can say instead of x omega, our function now changed to j omega into x omega. If I write it equals to a new function x1 omega, then it is 1 upon 2 pi minus infinite to infinite x1 omega e raised to the power j omega t d omega. Or you can say that this x1 omega forms a Fourier transform pair with this. So you can say d by dt of xt is x1 omega or equals to j omega x omega, or in general if you are differentiating it n times, it will be j omega time convolution property. So the statement of this property is, if you have two functions xt and yt, the Fourier transform of them, they are respectively capital X omega and y omega, capital Y omega, then convolution of xt and yt Fourier transform will be capital X omega into capital Y omega, or you can say convolution in time domain is equivalent to multiplication in frequency domain. Omega is frequency domain. So Fourier, we need to find the Fourier transform of this. So in integration, so f of xt convolution y of t minus infinite to infinite xt convolution yt e raised to the power minus j omega t dt. We know that how we find the convolution. If you don't know, then you must look in the chapters in which I solved the convolutions in detail. So x of tau, y of t minus tau, bring a new variable and you are integrating with respect to tau. You are shifting one of the signal and the another signal remains same, but you are changing the variable and from minus infinite to infinite. Now if you rearrange it, or you can say you multiply it inside it, then it will be this. Just multiply it there, put the limits same. Now if you change the order of integration, means here we are writing dt, d omega, d tau and dt. If you change the order and you start integrating with respect to t, so bring the variables which are having t, and limits are from minus infinite to infinite, y t minus tau, this is t, this is tau t, this. Now if you look at it, this is something equivalent to your time shifting property. So you must know that x of t minus t naught Fourier transform is e raised to the power minus j omega t naught into capital X omega. So in a similar way here, it will change to y omega into e raised to the power minus j omega tau. Now if you see here, this is constant with respect to tau, this term will come out, and then it will be minus infinite to infinite x tau e raised to the power minus j omega tau d tau. This is equivalent to x omega. So you can say the convolution in time domain is equivalent to multiplication in frequency domain. Time integration. So here, before we start with time integration property, we must know the Fourier transform of some signals. So ut is 1 and t greater than equals to is 0 else, and signum is a function which is defined minus 1 for t less than 0, 0 for t equals to 0, and 1 for t greater than equals to 0. And ut is basically equals to signum t plus 1 divided by 2. Put the value of this less than 0, you will find it that ut is equals to signum t plus 1 divided by 2. So if you find the differentiate ut, you get d by dt of ut is equals to impulse function. We know that. So signum of t, you can say, if you rearrange it, signum of t is equals to twice of ut minus 1. So if you differentiate it, signum function, then you get 2 d by dt of ut, or you can say twice of delta t. So Fourier transform of ut is equals to 1 by 2 signum t plus 1 by 2 Fourier transform of 1. If I are finding it from here, Fourier transform ut, so these are two signals, signum t by 2 plus 1. So 1 by 2 is with both of them. So Fourier transform of signum t using this, signum t is twice of j omega. Then using duality property, as we know, delta t Fourier transform is 1, then 1 Fourier transform is 2 pi delta omega. Minus is not coming here because whether you put minus omega equals to 0 or omega equals to 0. It's always delta omega. So f of ut is equals to twice of j omega into 1 by 2 plus 1 by 2 into 2 pi delta omega. Put these values here. So the Fourier transform of ut is actual 1 upon j omega plus pi delta omega. Now for the Fourier transform property, so we have minus infinite to 2, we are finding the Fourier transform of this x tau d tau Fourier transform. Then we have to prove that this is equals to this. So instead of writing this as x of tau, we can write it like this: x of tau ut minus tau. If you see that we have a t here, what is this? Ut minus tau. It's a shift time unit step shifted function. So it's equals to 1 for delta, or you can say tau less than equals to t. So this factor is coming from here. So instead of writing it like this, we can write it like this. You can say this is basically equivalent to this. How it's coming? This is 1 for tau less than equals to t. So when you will write it in this form, you will write it like this. So if you need to find the Fourier transform of this function, then it will be Fourier transform of this. You can say these two are equals to each other, and you can say Fourier transform of this is equals to x omega into u omega. And what is your u omega, which we did it on the previous slide? So it will be 1 upon j omega plus pi delta omega. Alright, so this function is defined when you open it. This will be x omega upon j omega, and then we are writing pi into x0 delta omega. Why? Because this function is defined at omega equals to 0 only. So you can write x0 here, means put omega equals to 0, but only in this part. These are all the properties, and there are some questions which I did on the basis of it. Now in the next video upload, I will solve questions based on the properties. I'll recommend you to go through the proofs of all the properties, because you have to solve them for the final paper and the paper which we are going to do for test 2. The test 2 will be entirely based on Fourier transform, and there will be 1 or 2 questions on Fourier series also. So I'll upload some Fourier series also. So remember that you must know how to do the proofs of the properties. Right? Thank you. This is about Parseval's theorem, which is used to find the energy of a signal if we know the Fourier transform of the signal. So as you can see that this is the formula to find the energy of a signal xt. So we have to prove that minus infinite to infinite mod of xt squared dt equals to 1 upon 2 pi minus infinite to infinite mod of x omega squared d omega. As we know that mod of xt square can be written as xt into x star t, which means that's the complex conjugate of xt, which can be written in the form of inverse Fourier transform as 1 upon 2 pi minus infinite to infinite capital X star w e raised to the power minus j omega t d omega dt. If we reverse the order of integration, we have x omega will come outside, xt will come inside, and d omega will go outside, and dt will come in. So it will be minus infinite to infinite xt e raised to the power minus j omega t dt, which can be written as x omega. Basically this is the Fourier transform of xt. So we can see that it's x star capital X star w omega into x omega, which can be written as mod of x omega square. So these are some solved problems on Fourier transform using properties of Fourier transform. Now if you consider the signal this, here the Fourier transform is given to us, so we will use the inverse Fourier transform formula to find out the value of xt. So capital X omega is given equals to 2 between minus w to plus w. So using inverse Fourier transform formula. It's from minus w to w to e raised to the power j omega t. It's plus here because we are using inverse Fourier transform formula. Do the integration. So this 2 will cancel out this 2. Put the limits, so it will be in this form. Now here, if you see, we have something missing in the here. We have a t here, but a t is missing here. So I'm writing a t here. Why we are doing this? If you remember the previous slides, this says that for the sinc function you have to create the same angle you have here in the denominator. Then you can write it as sinc wt. So the answer for this question is 2w by pi sinc wt. From where we got this? You must know that sine theta equals to e raised to the power j theta minus e raised to the power minus j theta. Now if we have a signal like this and we have to find the Fourier transform of this, so you must remember here that we have a rect t by t defined as a between minus t by 2 to plus t by 2, means whatever the value you have here, half of that. So in this way you will be able to define this signal. Now if you see here, if I forgot that this amplitude is 2 and I consider it as 1, so this is a rect function defined from minus 2 to 2. So you see that can be defined as rect t by 4, so amplitude 1 here. And if I forgot that there is an amplitude here 1 and I just look at this part, then this is another rectangular signal which is having amplitude 1 and which is defined from minus 1 to 1, which can be written as like this. So the amplitude again here is 1. Now if we add these two signals, it will be of this form. Why? From minus 2 to minus 1 this signal will exist, from 1 to 2 this signal will exist, and between minus and 1 both of these two will exist. So the amplitude here will be 1 plus 1, 2. So if we take the Fourier transform of rectangular function, which we did in the previous video of Fourier transform, you can use the direct formula here. So it will be 2 sinc w plus 4 sinc 2 omega. I want you to do this question on your own, and now then if the same signal the answer later we consider and we shift this signal by a value equals to 1. So this is the same signal. You can see there is a 2 here, there is a 4 here. The signal is shifted by one value on right hand side. So you can say it's using time shifting property. We know that if the Fourier transform of xt is x omega, then xt minus t naught is e raised to the power minus j omega t naught capital X omega. So Fourier transform of this will be e raised to the power minus j omega. Take the results from the previous slide and multiply with the answer. This question has been done by me in the first two slides of the previous video. The only difference is that there is a here instead of 1 there. So you can solve it in a similar way. So the answer of this will be 2a divided by a square plus omega square. Now if we have another question which is using the result of this question, using the result of above question, find the Fourier transform of this. So that means it's given to us that 2a upon a square plus omega square is the Fourier transform of e raised to the power minus a mod t. If we compare this with this, then you can see the difference is a is 1 and omega is in place of t. If there is a question which has no limits of x, means x doesn't have any range, you will not be able to find the Fourier transform of it using the integration property. So you have to use duality property here. So in a similar way, if I use a duality property here, it will becomes 2 here because a is 1 and 1 plus t square. In place of omega, t will come, and in place of, if you remember the duality property correctly, xt x goes to this side, capital X comes to this side, 2 pi is multiplied on this side, and there is a minus with omega. Alright, so here it's 2 upon 1 plus t square, 2 pi e raised to the power, it's 1 a, and mod of t, whether it's minus omega or plus omega, it's same, plus omega. So this is the Fourier transform of this 2 pi e raised to the power minus mod omega. Now if in the question it's given to you that e raised to the power minus 2 mod omega mod t is Fourier transform is 2 upon 4 plus omega, and you have to find the Fourier transform of t e raised to the power minus 2 mod t, and then use the result of this one of a to find the Fourier transform of this. So as we know this, here whenever you have a multiplication of t square, t cube, you have to use a frequency differentiation property, which is not given in the properties of the Fourier transform. So I'm doing it here. The only difference between the time differentiation and this one is that, if you remember, there it was dy dt of xt is equals to j omega x omega. Here if your differentiation in frequency domain, it's a multiplication in of jt in time domain with a minus sign. So for this we can write that Fourier transform of this will be minus 1 upon j using this for this. So minus 1 upon j, minus came from this j and minus, and d by d omega of whatever the Fourier transform of this part is, means what is the Fourier transform of this part. So this thing is bringing minus 1 upon j and d by d omega, and this part is using this thing. So it will be differentiation of this. I hope you know the differentiation, but if you don't know, then square of this part, there will be minus sign here, and then you will differentiate 2 omega. So it will be minus and minus will become plus at both these points, and when you will simplify it, means you will multiply j in numerator and denominator. The denominator will give j square, so it will be minus 1, so it will be minus 4j omega or 4 plus omega square whole square. Now if we use duality property here in the above result, and we solve it, then for this one it's 4t plus, so we don't, no range of function is given to us, so we have to use duality property. So use duality property here, so it will be minus 4jt 4 plus t square whole square like this, and on this side 2 pi will be multiplied, t will be replaced by minus omega, e raised to the power minus 2 mod of minus omega. It will come like this. So it will be 4jt 4 plus t square whole square 2 pi omega, this minus will cancel this minus, and when you simplify, means you bring this j here. Why? Because we have to find the value of this one. Then it will be minus 2 pi j omega e raised to the power minus 2 mod of